Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa. Thank you very much for joining me in this episode. Today we're going to be looking at a mod review. This is something I haven't done in a long time because we've had a lot of cars from DLC, from actual Kunos official cars that I've been having to review. So this is the first time I'm looking at a mod in a long time, and what a mod it is. I only found this after I actually recorded the SF70H footage, and then I was looking on Race Department, which is where you can find this mod, and I came across this one and I thought, I have to do this. And of course, two others are with me today as they were last week. So
hello everyone.
Hello.
Right, so back to the good old days with F1 racing, 2002 and the proper engines. And you probably remember last week I was having a quite bit of a moan about the quietness of the cars.
A bit of a moan?
Yeah.
You had a moan at, I think, the 3-minute mark, the 7-minute mark, the 11-minute mark, the end of the video.
Right. Yeah, right now I'm pretty satisfied with the noise, and this is how it should be.
It really is. I think you're not as big an F1 fan nowadays as you were, but back then you used to watch a lot of F1 as well.
This is when I used to really love it because of the sound. It's amazing.
The question is, who did you support back then? The big teams were Williams, Ferrari, McLaren. You were Ferrari.
Yeah, I was Ferrari.
You were?
I was Ferrari, but I'm going back a few years now. One of my favourite drivers was Mika Hakkinen.
You know what? Hakkinen was one brilliant driver. I really liked the rivalry between Mika Hakkinen and Michael Schumacher.
Yeah.
I think was one of the greatest rivalries ever. Plus, they had a genuine friendship as well.
Yeah.
So on track, they would fight each other to the point where we've all seen that overtake at Spa, where they go both sides of, I think, Ricardo Zonta, and it's just like two cars just splitting a very slow car.
Oops.
I'm going to explain that in a minute. Or later on in this video, something to do with the physics, something I think they need to improve upon.
Okay.
So I'm glad that we're talking about something else whilst that happened, because it sort of detracts away from me actually spinning. That actually freaked me out. When that happened, it was I was doing 175 miles an hour when I hit that, and the wheel yanked to the side. And if people don't know, I have before actually injured myself with a simulator. Maybe only I could do this. But I've actually injured myself with a simulator because I was inexperienced.
I was just waiting for you to. I was going to say how straight away, but I want to hear this. Go on.
So this was when I wasn't too used to driving with a steering wheel. The steering wheel, it was new for me.
Right.
And I had Gran Turismo 5, and this was the first time I was. Gran Turismo 5 is a SimK, so it had a lot of simulation aspects to it in driving. So I set up the steering wheel with it, and I didn't have the best of chairs or anything, but I sat down and I was driving, and I thought I'd decide to drive the 2009 F1 car that they had in there, which I thought was fine. And I made a mistake on a corner where I dipped my left rear tire into the dirt.
Okay.
I dipped into the dirt whilst I was on the brakes. Now, everyone knows, we've all done it before. When you hit dirt or snow or anything, lesser grip off one tire and you're braking, the car starts to slide. What do you normally do in a real car? You counter steer for the skid, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was doing 170-ish miles an hour like that, and obviously the force feedback wasn't set up correctly. It was really heavy on the wheel, and I sort of didn't let go of the steering wheel because I was inexperienced. In Formula 1 cars, because of the force, you let go of the steering wheel. I didn't let go, and because of the seat not holding me in position, the steering wheel yanked me off my seat. And off my seat, and I pulled a muscle straight from my shoulder, top of my shoulder, all the way down my back, and bruised 3 fingers at the same time because the steering wheel yanked back and my fingers were still in between the spokes of the steering wheel, and the metal just hit my fingers.
Right. Okay. I remember. Yeah. Because I think with that steering wheel, when you first switch it on, it goes through.
Exactly. That's
it goes through.
Now imagine that spin going about twice as fast as it snapped back. It could almost break your finger.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I learnt since then, never ever to when the car loses control, if it's a Formula 1 car like this and your force feedback is set up heavy, do not hold the steering wheel. Let go of it, especially if you don't have bolstering on your seat, because you can't hold it.
Okay.
You really can't hold it. That's how I injured myself. So that freaked me out when that happened. But anyway, going back to this car, of course we said we liked the rivalries, Mika Hakkinen and all that. Hakkinen at this time had retired, but we did have the likes of Kimi Raikkonen working through. But the two drivers here were Juan Pablo Montoya and Ralf Schumacher. So
Ralf Schumacher. It does.
it still has that
It's-
feeling,
yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah.
To hear a Schumacher name. And Ralf was not a bad driver. He was really, really good. In fact, I think Michael and Ralf were the only driver pairing that have had 1-2 on the pole position. They've had Ralf win and Michael second, Michael win and Ralf second,
Wow.
and been on the podiums in multiple races together. I think 3 races maybe they were together in podiums. So, you know, he was a really good driver for his thing.
Also-
But then we had Montoya.
Yeah.
Juan Pablo Montoya.
I mean, before the video, you were also telling us about Michael's son,
Mick.
who could be in F1 in the next few years, which I had absolutely no idea about.
Yeah, that would be really awesome. I think that would be really, really nice to see.
I think that'd be more on
I
the case
think-
because of his dad.
Not only that, the fact that it's going to... I'm assuming that, you know, when they concatenate the names to the 3,
Schumacher, yeah.
it's still going to be MSC, I'm
yeah.
guessing. Because Michael and Ralf had a special case. Because there were 2 Schumachers, they couldn't use SCH as their... You know, like Vettel is VET,
Yeah.
Raikkonen, or they had to use MSC
Right.
and RSC. I'm assuming Mick Schumacher is going to have MSC again, so that's going to be nice to see. But yeah, Schumacher, Montoya. Montoya, we all know Montoya. Very, very fast racer, very aggressive guy. Lots of crashing as well, but
Yep.
an incredible racer and incredibly potty mouth.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, he used to swear like nobody's business, but he was a very, very fast driver. And this car itself, let's go into the specs. This is a modded car. We're going to quickly smash through the specs, the mod info, and then what it's like in Assetto Corsa, yeah?
Yeah.
So this is the 2002 car, as we mentioned. It's a BMW engine, that's why it's BMW Williams. P82, 90-degree V10, 3-litre engine, 40 valves, so that's going to be 4 per cylinder, naturally aspirated and churned out 850 brake horsepower, which was the most powerful engine, I
yeah.
believe, at the start of the
Yeah.
season.
Just thinking, I don't know if you know about the other cars in probably F1 at that
Yeah.
time, but it's a 3-litre V10.
Yeah. All of them were
Isn't
3
that-
litres.
Oh, they're all.
They were
okay.
all 3-litre V10s. Of this range, they were all 3-litre V10s, or if you want to be really, really precise, 2.998. Because I don't know why they do that on cubic capacity. It's always just below the mark. You know, you have a 2-litre car. It's not. It's 1.998.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, it was a 3-litre V10.
Called rounding up.
Yeah, but the question, I just don't understand why they
Why
don't
they do it?
actually have. Why-
1998, not exactly
Where
2000.
does that 2? You know what I think it is? I think it's because of the bore and because it's a circle and working out the circle and all of that. It doesn't. It
Probably.
never gets to the exact number. But anyway, 850 brake horsepower. This was a really powerful engine, which was bolted to a 7-speed gearbox, not 8 gears like we have now, and not 6 gears like you had in the 90s. This was 7 gears, rear-wheel drive as you get, and it weighed 600 kilos with the driver as I lose control. 600 kilos. So last week's car was what?
675 or something?
With the driver was 750.
Oh,
wasn't it?
728.
728 with
yeah.
the driver. So it's 728 with the driver. This is 600 with the driver.
It's about 550.
Plus they had refueling here, so really they wouldn't be putting in 100 kilograms of fuel. They only put in maybe 40 kilos of fuel. Get through thing, another 40 kilos, another 40 kilos. So really this car was only 650-ish kilos at most. Lighter, and I tell you what, it definitely shows. The car as well was longer than current Formula 1 cars, at 4.5 meters long.
Wow.
That's the length of a Range Rover, isn't it?
And just compared to.
Probably longer than that. I think.
I don't know.
No. I think a Range Rover was probably like 5 meters ish, probably a bit
Is it?
longer. Yeah.
Or maybe a Range Rover Evoque or something. It's about that length.
5-6 meters actually a Range Rover maybe, but
6 meters, really?
No, I don't think it's 6
No.
meters.
I'm
I think it's
pretty-
about 5. You're right. It might be
I'm
5.
pretty sure it is 5-6 meters.
You're gonna
because
search it now. aren't you?
I'm searching. I'm
Alright.
googling. Sorry.
Whilst he's searching it, you want to
Okay,
continue with the specs?
let's just compare it to nowadays F1 cars. Do you know what the?
Yeah, 3.5 meters.
That is a lot.
Yeah, it's a meter.
Okay,
but
sorry.
these cars were
I'm gonna
narrower
interrupt
than
because
current
I think everyone wants to know. Right, a Range Rover Evoque is 4.
That's Evoque.
Yeah, so an Evoque.
4.38 meters.
A Discovery maybe
Yeah, a Range Rover
is
is between
5 meters.
5.5 to 5.2 meters.
Right, so it's 5. So this is between an Evoque and an actual full-on
Yeah.
Land Rover Range
Yeah.
Rover. So that's actually a very long car.
That is a long car, yeah.
Current cars are shorter. Current cars are actually wider. These cars were more narrower. It happened in 1998. They told them to narrow the cars down. So the track of this car is a lot narrower now. I think it's a 1.8 meter track. Modern Formula 1 cars, at least from this year, have like a 2 meter track.
Yeah.
Or something like that, or 2 meter width anyway. something like that. Don't quote me on that because I haven't looked up all that information. The chassis was a carbon aramid epoxy.
Never heard of that.
It's similar to your carbon fiber epoxy composites, your honeycomb lattice, but this was sort of molded in a different way. So it's not really a honeycomb anymore, but it had a different sort of structure, a different sort of form. This is more when carbon fiber was coming out to be the standard. Obviously, they're still working on it and improving the composite, the lattice structure, and all of them. So that's why it's not exactly what you would get. It had carbon ceramic ventilated discs, so carbon ceramic discs as opposed to now carbon fiber discs. So again, another change there, and still your standard 13-inch Oz wheels. That hasn't changed, but the tires were grooved, as you can see, and they were Michelin pilots.
I mean,
which I believe you keep on your car, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pilot Sports, don't you?
Yeah.
In fact, we have Pilot Sports. It's very good tires.
I've moved along now because they're crazy expensive, but
they are very expensive.
The Michelin Pilot Sport 4s are apparently one of the best tires on right now.
Got them outside.
Are they?
Yeah, they are
amazing.
Good. But you know what? The thing is, it shows that companies like that, Pirelli, Michelin, they can do a lot of good stuff. Bridgestone, because they've been in Formula 1, so they know what they're doing. This car raced in the 2002 season for the entire season, 17 races. Only one in Malaysia. Schumacher won in Malaysia. It had 7 poles in Brazil, Monaco, Canada, the Nürburgring, which was the European Grand Prix then, Silverstone, France, and Italy. In Italy, it actually recorded the fastest lap time for an F1 car ever. Something like 1 minute 20 seconds.
Just want to add on, when you said 17 races, you did mention there were a further 2 more won there for the beginning of the following season. Yeah,
which I think Ferrari used their 2002 car. These guys, obviously, they had their 2003 car ready.
Okay.
So their FW25 was ready. Whilst Ferrari, I don't know what Ferrari did. I think they must have had a mistake in manufacturing. Like, where's the engine gone? Who's misplaced the engine? But, the problem with this car is it came second in the Constructors' Championship to Ferrari. But the car was so unreliable. It had, I think in the middle of the season, it had 5 poles in a row, wasn't it? With Montoya.
Yeah.
We saw that. And how many of those did he retire from, those 5
all
poles in a row? Was it all of them or 3 of them?
Actually,
3.
3 of the 5, wasn't it?
Yeah,
3 of the 5 he retired from.
Yeah.
And I think in Canada he even got the fastest lap of the race and retired. So that just shows how unreliable that BMW engine was.
But I think
obviously there were crashes and stuff.
At that time,
well.
cars were generally,
they weren't as reliable as now. No, they
probably weren't a factor. It was just a matter of getting them, really fast.
Yeah,
good speeds.
exactly.
But,
now, quickly to go through the mod information. It is made by the MSF modding team, which will recognize some of the names. I'm not going to go through the names because we don't actually have time, but there are names that we'll recognize, and you'll find them on Race Department. It's a 68 meg download, which is quite small, and 120 meg uncompressed, and it comes in 2 liveries, naturally Montoya and Schumacher.
Yeah.
So you've got that. So it's a very simple.
Yeah, very small download.
Very small download. Maybe it's well compressed, but now we can actually go on for a few minutes to talk about what it's like in Assetto Corsa modelling, texturing, sounds, and physics. So, what do you guys think? I think modelling and texturing is the first one to always start with.
Yeah. First impressions, I think they've done it's pretty well done.
A really good job.
Yeah, looking at the steering wheel, the tyre, the grooves while it's racing, it looks pretty defined.
It does. It definitely does. I think it's quite high quality as well. The mesh is high quality. There's no jagged edges or anything that you can see. There's nothing discernible that looks wrong about the car. It really does look fairly accurate. And I think the mapping, the specular reflective mapping, you can see on that BMW logo.
I was just going to say that.
It's all good. There. Yeah. It does look fairly realistic.
For something that isn't an official content, it does look really good.
It does look very, very good. I completely agree on that. Texturing and modelling wise, I think they're bang on. Sounds. Now, obviously, we all love the V10s, and this is where I think we can probably nitpick a V10 better than any other Formula 1 car. So the question is, what do we think of the sounds here?
In comparison to the real one?
In comparison to the real one, and in comparison to, remember, we have other V10 engines available, including the F2004, which I reviewed a few weeks ago.
Well,
I think it's a good model. I mean, the sounds model quite well, but I think in comparison to was it the Ferrari?
Ferrari 2004 one.
I think Ferrari is slightly better. I think it's finding better tuned. I think.
Yeah, I think it's clarity and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that could be obviously the difference between Ferrari and BMW's engines.
That's also
Maybe.
true. I mean, the sound difference, I think I agree with you. It is the Ferrari and BMW different tone, different pitch,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I think this one feels just a little bit more distorted than the
Yeah.
Ferrari. I think the Ferrari is a little bit more clearer.
It sounds smoother as well.
Exactly. So I think they need to maybe work on the sounds a little bit. They are accurate sounds to the real car, but I think they're not, like you said, tuned.
Yeah.
I suppose they're not tuned up to that standard. But you're right. I think the difference in sound also does bear some sort of relevance. So there is some
Yeah.
factor to the difference in the sounds. Honestly, though, I think they're definitely livable.
Of course,
They're definitely
no,
livable.
100%.
It's a V10 engine. It sounds good. It sounds loud. It's not crisp. I think that's what we're really looking for. It's not crisp. But lastly, it's the physics. It's the driving of the car. Now, I'm going to get the one gripe out the way first. You saw me spin on lap 1. We spent a whole lap explaining about me getting injured spinning on lap 1. The reason I spun is the car bottomed out. I actually felt the bottom of the car, the barge board, scrape against the curb in maggots, and that lifted the front of the car off the track, and or the back of the car off, and the car just veered into a spin. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, but it hasn't happened since then. So, I mean,
It hasn't happened since, no, because I've been avoiding that curb. If you'll notice, as I come around here, I avoid the curb. I am actually going to avoid.
It'd be interesting to see. If you
Watch me go as I'll get close to that curb on that side. You see me avoid going into it.
it'd be interesting if you can hit it again and see what happens.
I don't think I'll be hitting in this video. I didn't want that to happen again. Plus, obviously, I wanted to be able to show the car off. So that, I don't know, it's maybe something needs work on the rake adjustment or height. Maybe the default setup for Silverstone is not correctly set up. Maybe that's what it is. In fact, I think I might put it down to that, because I do know I had to adjust the gearing because I was maxing out at 190 miles an hour before I was getting to an end of a straight.
Wow.
So
Can
I had
you-
to change that to get to 195 before the end of the straight.
Can you not adjust the ride height in the settings?
You can. So I think maybe it's something to do with that. But overall, physics-wise, I think for me, the car felt really, really good, but it just felt maybe just a little bit too easy. You know, a car like this should feel very much on a knife edge.
Yeah.
This felt just a little bit too easy once I got into it. In first and second gear, it was certainly on that knife edge, but without traction control, I didn't have traction control on. I expected third and fourth to be a lot more brutal than they were, and they weren't. You could have a good slip on this car, though, don't get me wrong. It felt like a 2002 car, but it just felt like it maybe just been dulled down just a slight bit, and that was my only concern on the physics. So, you know, apart from that, I think the car, I could heat up the tyres, as you know, where they had the slide, the aggressive sliding they used to do in 2002 on the warm-up laps. I could do that in this car, and I could feel the car, the traction of the car when I launched forward. I tried it out. I could feel the car wanting to turn in a specific direction. It did feel really good like that. It was just that it just felt slightly easier once it got up to speed. Once you got above 80, 90 miles an hour.
Is that a good thing though?
I suppose for driving it's a good thing, but for realism, I would have expected this car to be more on a knife edge. I know how edgy these cars were. Plus, this isn't as aerodynamically good as the Ferrari, so I would have expected a bit more knife edge on it. So overall, I don't know. As a car, we know it's a 10 out of 10 car. But as a mod, I'm gonna say they need improvements on it, but it is fairly good. I'd give them an 8.5 out of 10. Once they fix up the sound, clear up the sound, and fix the slight physics problems, I think it could easily be a 9.5 or a 10. But at the moment, I want to give it an 8.5.
Yeah. I'm gonna go slightly above what you gave it. I'm possibly above, just below a 9. So I'll say 8.8.
8.8.
Yeah.
I'd say probably around 8.6, 8.7.
So we're looking at between 8.5 and 9, which is, I think is that's a very good score there. So we're going to end it there. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa, leave a comment in the comments box below. Once again, thumbs up for these two, and maybe they'll show up a little bit more often. And also do support me on Patreon, link to that is in the description box below. I would massively appreciate your support, and I will see you guys hopefully in another video of Assetto Corsa.